At the beginning of the movie, we see Mary Jane Watson back on the scene, Peter Parker's longtime friend who has now become a renowned model with her posters plastered throughout New York City. She's clearly living her best life and achieving success. Meanwhile, on the flip side, we have Peter Parker working as a pizza delivery guy with a beat-up, practically useless bike. Here's the thing though, Peter possesses incredible superpowers, but these powers come with great responsibility. And because he's so focused on being Spider-Man, he's completely neglecting his personal life. He's not concentrating on himself, not getting a decent job, and can't seem to accomplish any task on time. He's even failing his college exams because he literally forgets everything except helping humanity. So Peter arrives at the pizza shop where he works, and his boss immediately lays into him for being late. The boss gives him an ultimatum: you need to deliver these pizzas within 8 minutes because our delivery promise is 30 minutes, and 22 minutes have already passed. If you don't make it in time, you're not getting paid and you're losing your job. Peter desperately tries to deliver those pizzas on time, but wouldn't you know it, some kids are about to get into a serious accident. Without hesitation, Peter immediately transforms into Spider-Man and saves those children. He then rushes to deliver the pizza, but as he's climbing the stairs of the building, several floor mops slip and fall on him, causing him to be 2 minutes late. When he finally reaches the customer, they tell him, "You're 2 minutes late. I'm not paying for this." And just like that, Peter loses another job. His other source of income, working as a freelance photographer taking Spider-Man photos, isn't working out either. Basically, all his sources of income are falling apart. When he arrives at university feeling completely dejected, he discovers that his lecture ended an hour ago. His professor informs him that his academic performance has been declining dramatically, and if this continues, he'll fail the entire year. Stressed out and overwhelmed, Peter visits his Aunt May, only to realize that he completely forgot it was his own birthday. His friends Harry Osborn and Mary Jane are there to celebrate with him. Aunt May, knowing Peter is completely broke, gives him $20 as a birthday gift. As Peter leaves the building, he sees Mary Jane waiting for him outside. Seeing her brings him some joy, and for a moment, he forgets about all his troubles. Mary Jane asks Peter about his life, and he responds, "Some problems are going on, but they'll resolve themselves with time." Mary Jane then opens up about her own life, revealing that someone else has entered her life romantically. However, she's still willing to be with Peter. But Peter, already dealing with so many issues, realizes that if he brings Mary Jane into his life, she'll have to face all these problems too. So he quietly walks away without saying anything. Peter returns to his rundown apartment, which is in terrible condition because he has no money. The landlord constantly harasses him about when he's going to pay rent, so Peter has to hide from him all the time. Later, Harry brings Peter to meet his business partner, a scientist. Harry has taken over his father's business and brings Peter here because Peter has a school project requiring research on a scientist. The scientist tells Peter, "I don't usually meet with students, but I'll make an exception because Harry requested it." Peter and the scientist have an engaging conversation about science. The scientist's wife joins them and asks Peter if he has a life partner. When Peter says no, she suggests he should read poetry. Peter takes her advice and starts reading poetry books, thinking about Mary Jane and wanting to tell her that she's still important to him. As Peter is about to go see Mary Jane, he witnesses her trying to stop some thieves but failing. Peter helps the police catch the criminals, but in the process, his bike gets damaged. When Peter tries to go to Mary Jane's theater where she performs, the staff won't let him in because he's too late, so he waits outside for her. After waiting for a long time, Mary Jane finally comes out, but Peter notices that another man has come to pick her up. Seeing this, Peter leaves heartbroken. Later, we see Spider-Man in action again as some thieves appear on the scene. But when he tries to use his web shooters to capture them, they suddenly stop working. He falls from a great height, realizing that all his superpowers have disappeared. Peter returns home feeling like a lost and lonely person. He has no job, his bike is broken, he's failing in school, and he's behind on rent. Everything is falling apart. Next, we see Peter in the laboratory of that scientist he met earlier, who is about to reveal his inventions to the public. Harry is there to assist with the demonstration. The scientist explains to everyone that he's creating an artificial sun using nuclear fusion power. It will be safe and provide continuous light for people. Then the scientist shows everyone a special robotic machine with 4 tentacle-like arms. The robotic machine is attached to his body with pins inserted into his spine, allowing him to control the arms. He also reveals that these arms have their own artificial intelligence, essentially their own brain that allows them to think and act independently. When people ask how he'll control them if they have their own minds, he shows them a special chip. This chip connects the 4 arms to my brain, keeping them under my control. The scientist begins the nuclear fusion reaction, but something goes wrong. The massive magnetic field starts attracting all the metal in the building toward the reaction. Peter quickly transforms into Spider-Man and starts saving everyone. Harry tells the scientist to stop the reaction, but the scientist refuses, insisting, "It's stable. I won't stop it." Harry orders him to stop, but the scientist won't listen. Tragically, the scientist's wife dies when she's struck by flying glass shards. Peter, as Spider-Man, saves Harry from danger and then heads to the control system. When the scientist asks Spider-Man what he's doing, Spider-Man replies, "I'm shutting this system down." The scientist uses his tentacle arms to try to stop him and knock Spider-Man back. The scientist also gets electrocuted in the process. Finally, Spider-Man manages to stop the fusion reaction by destroying the system. Harry is devastated because he invested a fortune in this project, and now all that money is gone. Meanwhile, in the hospital, doctors are trying to remove the tentacle arms from the unconscious scientist. But as they attempt the removal, the arms activate using their artificial intelligence and kill all the doctors. The scientist regains consciousness and realizes that the control chip is damaged, meaning the tentacle arms are now operating with their own minds. Back at the newspaper office, the editor tells Peter, "There's a party at my house to celebrate my son's arrival. You'll handle the photography." The scientist, now calling himself Dr. Octopus, initially tries to remove the arms, but they take control of his mind instead. They plant the idea that they need to rebuild the fusion reactor, but they need money for it. So they decide to rob a bank. Dr. Octopus attacks a bank where Peter and Aunt May happen to be, trying to resolve issues with their house. Doc Ock breaks into the bank vault and throws a heavy vault door that's about to hit Aunt May, but Peter quickly saves her. As Dr. Octopus steals money from the vault, Spider-Man appears. Doc Ock becomes furious seeing Spider-Man and starts hurling money bags at him. An intense fight breaks out between Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus gains the upper hand using his mechanical arms, but Spider-Man fights back using his webs to grab tables and other objects. Eventually, Dr. Octopus is forced to retreat from the bank. Outside, Doc Ock attacks Spider-Man with car parts after smashing vehicles. When the police arrive, Dr. Octopus grabs Aunt May to use her as a hostage and starts climbing a tall building with her. Spider-Man follows them up and demands, "Let her go." Dr. Octopus releases her, causing her to fall, but Spider-Man quickly catches her with his web. Aunt May ends up hanging from the building while an epic battle rages between Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus. When Doc Ock grabs Aunt May again, she fights back and attacks him, but this causes her to fall. Spider-Man manages to save her once more. Later, Peter attends the party where the newspaper editor invited him for photography work. As the editor's son and his fiancée come down the stairs, Peter is shocked to discover that the fiancée is none other than Mary Jane. Peter's friend Harry also arrives at the party and angrily confronts Peter, "Why do you keep taking photos of Spider-Man when you know I hate him?" Peter realizes that both his friends are drifting away from him and leaves the party feeling heartbroken. For some time now, Spider-Man's powers have been malfunctioning, so Peter visits a doctor. He tells the doctor, "I often dream about Spider-Man. I'm in trouble because my powers frequently stop working." The doctor advises, if Spider-Man's powers aren't working properly, maybe he should stop using them and live a normal life. Peter decides to follow the doctor's advice and tries to live like a regular person. Even when people call for help or he witnesses bad things happening, he forces himself to stay out of it and focus on his normal life. Meanwhile, Dr. Octopus approaches Harry, who still hates Spider-Man. Doc Ock needs something that Harry possesses to complete his mission. They make a deal, "If you bring me Spider-Man, I'll give you what you need." Doc Ock asks, "How am I supposed to find Spider-Man?" Harry tells him, "That photographer Peter Parker always gets pictures of Spider-Man. If you capture him, you can easily get to Spider-Man." During lunch with Mary Jane, Peter's superpowers suddenly return, and he senses someone behind him. Dr. Octopus appears and demands information about Spider-Man, then kidnaps Mary Jane. Another epic battle begins between Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus, this time on top of a speeding train. Doc Ock uses his tentacle arms to increase the train's speed and destroy the brakes, putting all the passengers in mortal danger. Spider-Man realizes the train will crash if it continues at this speed, so he desperately tries to stop it to save everyone on board. The train is moving at full speed, making it incredibly difficult to stop. Using every ounce of his strength and multiple webs, Spider-Man finally manages to bring the train to a halt. The effort completely exhausts him, and he collapses, but the grateful passengers catch him and lift him up. Spider-Man doesn't realize his mask has fallen off, and all the passengers are shocked to see that their hero is just a young man. Some children approach him with his mask, promising, "We won't tell anyone that you saved us." But Dr. Octopus arrives again and captures the weakened Spider-Man, taking him to Harry. Harry is thrilled to finally have his father's killer in his hands. He gives Dr. Octopus what he needs to complete his fusion reactor. When Harry unmasks Spider-Man, he's stunned to discover it's Peter. He angrily asks, "Why did you kill my father?" Spider-Man urgently responds, "I don't have time to explain. Tell me where Mary Jane is." Harry claims he doesn't know about Mary Jane, but Spider-Man explains, "You gave the scientist exactly what he needed. He's going to start a massive fusion reaction that could destroy the entire city." Spider-Man pleads with Harry to help, and Harry finally agrees. Spider-Man races to Dr. Octopus's location, where the scientist is preparing to restart the fusion reaction. Another intense battle erupts between Spider-Man and Doc Ock. When the scientist refuses to stop, Spider-Man removes his mask and reveals that he's Peter Parker. He reminds the scientist, "You told me that we should use our powers to help others, not destroy them. But that's exactly what you're doing now." Peter pleads, "This fusion reaction will destroy the entire city if you don't stop it." Finally, the scientist comes to his senses and realizes what he's doing. He stops listening to the commands of his mechanical arms and sacrifices himself by taking the fusion reactor into the water beneath the laboratory, where it safely explodes. Dr. Octopus dies in the process, but the city is saved from complete destruction. Mary Jane now knows that Peter is Spider-Man. She tells him, "I've known for a while that you're Spider-Man." Spider-Man tells her, "Go to that other guy. I have too many problems, and if you stay with me, you'll have to face all those troubles too." The next day is supposed to be Mary Jane's wedding day with John Jameson, but John receives a note saying that Mary Jane has left. We then see Mary Jane arriving at Peter's apartment, and the two of them are finally reunited. Later, we see Harry in his house, where he discovers a secret section containing his father's laboratory filled with weapons designed to kill Spider-Man. Harry realizes that his father was the villain, while Spider-Man was actually the hero. However, Harry decides he still wants to kill Spider-Man to avenge his father. The movie ends with Spider-Man back on his mission, swinging through New York City, ready to help and save people once again.